The cabin was supposed to fix everything. Fresh air, silence, a break from the noise of real life. Just a quiet weekend deep in the woods. It was me, my girlfriend, and my best friend. He told us he was bringing someone. Just a rebound, he said casually. Her name's Lucy. He laughed it off, but something about the way he said it felt off. We didn't think much of it at the time. We should have. The drive up was long, miles of empty road, no signal, nothing but trees stretching endlessly into the dark. By the time we reached the cabin, the sun was already sinking. That's when we saw them. My friend stepped out of his car, and behind him was Lucy. At first glance, she looked normal, pale, quiet, almost too quiet. She didn't smile, didn't say hello, just stood there, staring, not at all of us, just at me. Inside the cabin, things felt strange almost immediately. You know that feeling, like the air is just wrong, too heavy, too still. Lucy barely spoke during dinner. When she did, it was short, flat, like she was repeating something she'd memorized. My friend kept trying to lighten the mood, jokes, stories, laughing a little too hard. But Lucy, she didn't react, didn't laugh, didn't blink much either. She just watched, always watching. Later that night, we were sitting by the fire, the only light in the entire forest, flames crackling, shadows stretching across the walls. That's when Lucy suddenly spoke, out of nowhere. "He shouldn't have brought me here." Her voice was calm, too calm. We all went quiet. My friend forced a smile. "What?" Lucy slowly turned her head toward him. "I told you, it wouldn't be safe." Silence filled the room. He laughed it off again. "She's just joking." But she wasn't smiling, not even a little. That's when things started getting worse. Lucy began acting different, more aggressive. Small things at first, snapping at my friend for no reason, gripping his arm too tightly, watching us like we were intruders in our own space. At one point, I caught her standing in the hallway, just staring into the darkness, not moving, not blinking, just standing there, like she was waiting for something, or someone. Around midnight, we decided to call it a night. Everyone went to their rooms. The cabin grew silent. Too silent. The kind of silence that makes your ears ring. I don't know how long I was asleep, but something woke me up. A sound. Soft. Slow. Footsteps. At first I thought it was my friend. Maybe he got up for water, but then I heard something else. A faint, dragging noise, like metal, brushing against wood. I sat up, my heart already racing, and that's when I saw it. Through the crack in the door, a shadow moving down the hallway. Slow, unsteady, like someone wasn't fully awake. I stepped closer, carefully, quietly, and looked out. It was Lucy, walking through the cabin, barefoot, her head tilted slightly to one side, eyes open, but empty, completely empty, like no one was inside. And in her hand was a knife, a large kitchen knife, its blade catching the faint light from the window, scraping softly against the wall as she walked. Step, drag, step, drag. I froze. Every instinct screamed at me not to move, not to breathe. She stopped, right outside my door. The knife slowly lifted, her head turned, and for a second, her eyes locked directly onto mine. But they didn't see me, not really. It was like she was looking through me, through everything. Then she whispered something, so quiet. I barely caught it. "He's still here." My chest tightened. What did that even mean? Who was he? Suddenly, she turned and walked away. Just like that, vanishing into the darkness of the cabin. I didn't sleep after that. None of us did. Because I wasn't the only one who saw her. My girlfriend had heard the same footsteps. My friend, he looked terrified, but he kept saying the same thing over and over. She sleepwalks. She sleepwalks. Like if he repeated it enough, it would become normal. Morning came, but it didn't feel like relief. The cabin felt colder, darker, even with sunlight pouring in. Lucy acted like nothing happened, sitting at the table, calm, quiet, drinking coffee. I finally asked her, "Do you remember last night?" She looked up slowly, smiled, just a little. No, that smile. It wasn't right. We didn't stay. We packed up immediately. No arguments, no second thoughts. We just left. The drive back was silent. No one wanted to say it out loud, but we were all thinking the same thing. Something wasn't right about her. Something wasn't human. A few days later, curiosity got the better of me. I started looking her up. Social media, old records, anything, nothing, no photos, no history, no trace. I asked my friend where he met her. He said he didn't remember exactly. A bar, or maybe online. He wasn't sure. But the strangest part, he couldn't even find her anymore. Her number, disconnected, gone. And then he said something.
Some people go to isolated cabins to escape the noise, but sometimes something finds you anyway. I've always been an introvert. Silence doesn't bother me. It comforts me. That's why every few months I rent a cabin, far away from everything. No neighbors, no traffic, just trees and stillness. This time was no different, or at least, that's what I thought. It was around 11 p.m. I was sitting alone, reading, when suddenly, someone knocked on the door. Not loud, not aggressive, just slow, controlled, almost polite. Knock, knock, knock. That didn't make sense. No one knew I was there, and the nearest road was miles away. I stood up slowly, heart starting to race. I didn't open the door right away. Instead, I looked through the small window beside it, and that's when I saw him. A man, standing perfectly still. He was wearing a black suit, clean, neat, almost too perfect. His face, expressionless, no smile, no emotion, nothing, just staring. I cracked the door open slightly. "Can I help you?" I asked. He didn't respond immediately. Then finally, in a calm, flat voice, he said, "I'm lost." Something about the way he said it felt wrong, not scared, not confused, just empty. I told him there was a town about 20 minutes back. He didn't move, didn't blink. Then he said something that made my blood run cold. He said my name. I never told him my name. I never even mentioned it. "How do you know that?" I asked. He tilted his head slightly, still staring, still emotionless. "You've been here before," he said. At that point, I knew something was very wrong. I shut the door immediately, locked it, and stepped back. That's when the knocking started again. This time, louder, slower, more deliberate. Knock, knock, knock. I grabbed my phone and called the police, trying to keep my voice steady. I told them everything. They said help was on the way, but when I looked back at the door, the knocking had stopped. I waited. Minutes passed. No sound. Nothing. When the police finally arrived, I opened the door. The man was gone. They searched the area. No footprints, no sign of anyone. But then one of the officers called me outside, and that's when I saw it. All 4 of my car tires had been slashed. No one saw him leave. No one knows where he went. And sometimes, late at night, I still wonder if he ever really got lost, or if he found exactly what he was looking for. After my father died, there was only one thing left for me to do: sell the cabin. It sat deep in the woods, far from the nearest road, a place my father loved. But I never understood. I arrived just before sunset. The air felt wrong, not cold, not warm, just heavy. The moment I stepped inside, I smelled it. A foul, rotting odor, like something had been sitting there for far too long. I checked the kitchen, the bathroom, every corner of the living room. Nothing, no source, no explanation, just that smell, lingering. That's when I heard it, above me, from the attic. I froze. Another sound followed, a slow, dragging noise, like something moving. I told myself it was nothing. Old wood, animals, maybe just my imagination. But deep down, I knew it wasn't. I didn't check the attic, not that night. Instead, I locked the doors and tried to sleep on the couch, but sleep never came. Every little noise, every creak, felt louder than it should. At some point, I must have drifted off, because when I opened my eyes, it was morning. Everything felt normal again, too normal. I got up, walked into the living room, and that's when I saw it, the chair, covered with a blanket. I didn't remember leaving it like that. And then, the blanket moved, just slightly, but enough. Enough to know someone was under it. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't move. My mind was screaming, but my body wouldn't listen. And then, it shifted again, slowly, like it knew I was watching. That's when I ran. I didn't look back. I didn't grab anything. I just ran out of that cabin and as fast as I could. And as I reached the edge of the trees, I turned. The front door was open. And then I saw him, a man, dirty, thin, hair matted, eyes hollow. He stumbled out of the cabin like he had been living there for a long, long time. Then he looked straight at me and ran into the woods. He disappeared within seconds, like he had never been there at all. The police came later. They searched the cabin, the attic, and what they found made my stomach drop. Food wrappers, old clothes, a makeshift bed. Someone had been living up there for over a year, right above my father, watching, waiting. And the worst part, they said, there were signs. He hadn't been alone.